Harris, a fellow woman. This will be the second opportunity that white women in this country have to change the way that they interact with the patriarchy. And, God bless Shannon Watts, who has tried to have that conversation. But if people aren't receptive to it, and if people vote more, party line or more on race than on gender and on protecting their gender, there's really not much more that you can do but tell people what the risks are and leave it to them to do the right thing. Stop.
The Harris campaign just told us that Paul Rudd is actually at Lehigh right now, has gone to Lehigh University, where those gigantic lines are.
They've sent him from Temple to Lehigh.
They've sent him from Temple to Lehigh to help persuade people to stay.
Not many celebrities go to Bethlehem. I talked to Mark Cuban a few minutes ago. He was FaceTiming with students in line at Chapel Hill, and he said, I thought I was going to need to keep them going, but they're happy. They're waiting. They're getting the job done.
That's what they did in 2008, by the way. The Obama campaign would send celebrities, like different, hip hop artists, et cetera, would show up at the polls, and people would, and this is before the time when we really were like texting, but everyone would know that X celebrity is at the poll and people would stay. So that was a tactic, absolutely, during the Obama campaign, and it works.
It is both an inspiration and also enraging to know that there are 5-hour lines to vote in the United States of America. It's awesome.
Listen, I think having talked to Senator Schumer, Chuck, earlier today, I think they're cautiously optimistic about a state that I'm going to keep my eyes on, and that's Texas. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind that there just was the big story about the Texan woman who died because of, and you've got a lieutenant governor down there who's trying to get the court to force women to give him their medical records. Mm-hmm. There's just a lot going on down there around the Trump abortion ban, and it's really draconian in Texas. And I think that between that and Cancun, Ted Cruz has his hands full down there.
As in where Ted Cruz went, yes.
You just think about just the last 2 weeks and the things that Donald Trump has said into the TV that people could hear him say and do, the vulgarity in front of families with young children, and the threats to do mass deportation and a violent start to his dictatorship on day one, and you name it. If all of that gets you half of the votes,
49%.
What does it tell you? I mean, we need to really take a step back and think about what does that say about us.
I think that's right.
And so, the idea that if Joe Biden said the wrong word at a certain time or wasn't able to come up with the word he wanted to say at a certain time, the idea that that's worse than all the words we heard Donald Trump say, that he had no trouble retrieving from his racist thoughts about people, and to say there's no price for those. You won't lose a single voter. You might not gain a voter,
right,
but you won't lose one, no matter what you say. That is a new phenomenon, and it applies only to one party and not to the other.
One thing that
we don't know who's going to win Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, which means that when you actually put aside a lot of the energy and the understandable emotion and commitment, we are in a similar place than we were a few hours ago. I have seen people start to jump on trends, but we don't know who's going to win those states. If Kamala Harris wins those states, then she would be in a path to win the presidency.
Carolina called for Donald Trump.
Yep. And so it was, it's a state that I think Democrats definitely were reaching for. There was a lot of work to try to turn out the college campuses, which were really thick and really packed, and try to turn out the suburbs. And I think there was a lot of hope because of just the insanity, can we say fairly, of the person who's running for governor in that state, and a thought that, defeating him would also carry Harris in. But in the end, if they didn't make their numbers and essentially exceed the numbers that Joe Biden had in the suburbs, and I think we have to be blunt about why. Black voters came through for Kamala Harris. White women voters did not. That is what it appears happened in that state.